Hello.
Hello.
Welcome aboard to the next Clyde Bar podcast.
We're back, episode 2.
Have you been, Kyle?
Very well, man. How are you?
Not bad, not bad.
There's somebody else with us today.
We do,
How are you, pal?
Neil,
How you doing? Am I the first guest then?
You are the first guest.
Ah, cool.
the wee man.
What's happening?
For people who don't know who you are, how dare they?
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave it at that.
No fans of rap or wrestling watching the podcast today, but I'm sure there will be a few geeks watching.
Probably.
No.
So we just finished a comedy night last week. How did it go?
Went all right. Rachel Jackson. Rachel was selling some merch end of the gig,
She was
so
indeed.
she sold 4 mugs,
Oh, did she? Good.
and she had one stolen.
Fuck off.
Someone. So if you stole Rachel's mug, get in touch with us. You're a tenner. Poor lassie.
You mug.
Poor lassie just at the hospital getting mugged. So so that was that. And then who else did we have on? We had a good lineup actually. It was a good.
It was good. Lucha.
Lucha was really good. She
Oh,
stepped
yeah.
in.
Talking about wrestling.
About wrestling.
Yeah,
Uh,
wrestled with Lucha.
I might have been on shows with them. I've never been involved with them in like a wrestling capacity. He never worked for ICW that much, I don't think. But I know Lucha. He's a dead nice guy.
So put it into context. ICW, what is it?
ICW stands for Insane Championship Wrestling, so folk might be aware of it in a sort of mainstream sense because there was a documentary about it, 10 years ago now?
Dallas, Mark
10
Dallas.
or 11 years ago now. Yep, so it started by Mark Dallas. Folk will know Grado, of course, so he pretty much became a household name. I guess kind of via ICW and via the documentary that they made about ICW back in the day called Insane Fight Club. So it's been going since before that, and it is still going right now as well. Shows coming up at the garage and stuff like that.
Who else would we know?
At its peak, it was on at the Hydro. Done 3 shows at the Hydro, SEC and the bars and stuff. So at its peak, first one was 2016. It ran for 3 years. Subsequently at the Hydro after that. So yeah, I've done shows at the Hydro and now I'm in the Clyde Bar. This is how it goes, man.
Who else would the public know for ICW then?
So Grado might be one of the main ones. Mark Dallas is one of the guys that started it. Chris Toll, you might know as Tam Spraggins, I suppose. Came up through ICW. That's how I met Toll as well. In fact, now when I'm cutting about with Toll, folk recognise him for that viral clip for Scott Squad so much. The guys will come up and go like, "Is your name Tam?" And Toll will just be like, "Nah," and walk away.
No, me. Another guy.
Aye,
Somebody else.
it's another guy in Scotland that looks exactly like me. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
all,
It's
yeah,
the other
yeah.
one you're.
Are you this guy? No,
It's the other
it's
guy
not
that's 3'10" that you're confusing me with. Do you know what I mean?
That's what he says to the copper. All right, Shagger, isn't it?
All right, Shagger. Aye. Shagger, yes, I am.
Shagger, aye.
And to be fair, that is a phrase that I employ in the most inappropriate situations possible. Right. I love saying Shagger, yes, I am, for no reason.
Exactly.
You just even if you just see some random old guy shambling about, fucking doesn't know where he is, I like just mutter myself, Shagger, yes, I am. It's the funniest when it's the like least fitting context to it. You Shagger, yes, I am.
I think most old guys probably were Shaggers back in the day.
Oh, aye, Shagger, yes, I was, mate.
100%.
Aye. That is classic, that clip.
So how did you get involved in ICW?
I got involved in ICW back, we were talking 2010 or something like that now, when they were still doing shows in the Maryhill Community Centre. That's where they sort of started. And they were known for being sort of blood heavy and sort of violent and just not your usual sort of local wrestling show that you go to in Scotland. It was sort of just anything goes. I think their first ever show, I wasn't involved in it at this point, but they were notorious for their first ever show. The main event ended with someone getting knocked out with a dildo.
That was going to happen in Maryhill that night.
Exactly. I think they just stuck cameras on it. Might as well just build a ring round about us and fucking charge people money. Sorry, I just swore there. Can I swear on it?
Absolutely.
I don't want to get
There was a ring
demonetised.
getting
on
that night in Maryhill.
Yeah, man. Fucking ring of fire match like the Kane and the Undertaker used to do.
Buzz it off.
So it was sort of notorious for that sort of thing. It was like bring your own bottle at the time, so it was known as a bit of a party folk would turn up to and stuff. So I showed up initially. I think there was a bit of that. It was fucking bit of chaos at the time, but so I showed up initially for a wee sort of guest appearance to give the crowd a bit of patter, and then maybe recite a couple of songs. I forgot all the words to one of the songs, and I get jumped by a couple of wrestlers at the first show. I was adamant that I get jumped. They were just wanting me to do a wee guest appearance. I was like, nah, I want to get battered. Tried to get battered by a couple of guys, Rob Cage, an English guy, and a guy called Noam Dar, a wee Scottish guy who's still in WWE just now. He just returned. He's been injured quite a lot, I think, so he was off for ages. But he's just returned to WWE, so he's still over in Florida, working for them. So he was the first guy to attack me at ICW. So after that, I got asked Dallas, like the reception I got and stuff, and figured that I was I knew what I was doing because I was a big lifelong wrestling fan. So he wanted me bringing me back in as a kind of regular fixture. Put me in a tag team called the Bucky Boys, who I was managing, who were kind of storyline cousins, Davey Boy and Stevie Boy. So yeah, after that, managed the Bucky Boys for years. And if you're not a wrestling fan, you don't know what a manager is. Basically, kind of going out there on the mic, what I would do was sort of rip the piss out of the other wrestlers, like put over my wrestlers, introduce them with kind of different gags each time, and then rip the piss out of the other wrestlers, like kind of opening promo, just to kind of get the crowd G'd up and energetic and stuff. And I was quite well known for that. In fact, one of the gags, my very first show that I was introducing him, one of my gags that I introduced one of the boys with Stevie Boy, I said he hails directly from Jerry McKill's worst fucking nightmares. And then there's a cool thing about wrestling. When I went out for the next show, I started to say that joke again, and the crowd chanted it back at me
nice.
without me having to finish it. So I was like, cool, you don't get that in stand-up. In fact, you'd be pissed off if that happened in stand-up. And you write some new material, do you know what I mean? But it's different in wrestling, you know what I mean?
Don't ruin the punchline, you dicks.
Aye. In wrestling, you write a joke once, and then you fucking carries you for the next 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? Because the crowd chant it back at you. But that was quite a cool feeling to just come up with a sort of wee throwaway joke one time, and then, do you know what I mean? 4 or 5 years later, there's about 4,000 people at the SAC chanting it back at me while I'm coming out with it in the mic. Do you know what I mean? So that's quite a rare experience.
That's quite a good buzz. I kind of see people kind of so invested and stuff.
That is some buzz, especially the SAC. That was something else. Like, as I said, we did the Hydro the year after that and stuff, which was, I think, at its peak, like 7,000, close to 7,000 people there. I got battered by the Dudley Boys that night, which is a personal life highlight as well. But
I bet it was, yeah.
That was amazing. But nothing match. Like the SECs, you just going out there and they're that close to you and stuff. It was just like, I almost passed it, man. It was actually just like a wall of heat and noise hits you, man. It's like fucking, yeah.
That's excellent.
Feels like nothing else, man. Mick Foley was the sort of guest, the big guest on that show as well. Yeah, with the sock. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. Are you doing the Mary Hill dildo again? Is that
That's the Ring of Fire.
That needs explained, man.
That's what it's tattooed.
You're getting closer to the elbow each time, man. You mark how far you've grown each year.
That's what it is. Daddy's a big boy now.
I do believe that's part of Rob's stand-up
Don't
set.
say daddy when you're
Oh,
not.
it's not. Take that back. Cheers.
So it's still going today? Still wrestling? Still doing the thing? Or?
Yeah, so do kind of regular shows at the garage now. Every month, every couple of months or so, and at more recent shows, I dived off the top of a steel cage for the first time. One of the recent shows at the garage,
fantastic,
which was a lot of fun. I recommend it. You'll shite yourself for the few years leading up to it, and then you'll shite yourself when you're up on top of the cage, and it's like
but what buzz when you're down,
and you're hanging off, and there's guys that weigh about 250 pounds slamming each other into the steel, and you're just shaking at the top of it and stuff. But jumping off it at the top, man, that's one way to cure a midlife crisis. Do you know what I mean? It's one way to deal with it.
That's bucket list stuff, though.
It was cool, man. Yeah.
How much of that can you actually prep? How much of that can you say this is going to be safe? Or is it basically literally a leap of faith?
It is a leap of faith. Like, thankfully, I'm getting caught by two quite, you know what I mean, hefty boys. So you
They
just
can still hurt you with the catch, you know?
yeah, and I mean, it depends how they catch you. There have been caught out by stuff like that in the past, where it's like the sorest stuff in wrestling. It's just the wee daft things that you weren't paying attention to, just where your knee was. Or like, one of the sorest things was just, I remember climbing out the ring once and bashing one of my knees against the ring apron, and I felt like I broke it, and it was literally just climbing into the ring. I'm like,
That's just what Lucha was saying during the set, the wee bit at the end. It's like he was saying, people got this misconception that wrestling is fake, you know, and he's got broken noses and broken arms and, you know, bruised internal organs and all shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not that fake. Might be scripted, but it's certainly no fake.
oh, you're taking hits. I mean, yeah, took my first choke slam at one of the recent shows as well, and it's like, that stings, man.
That woke me up.
So who was your heroes at wrestling? You were kind of growing up watching it then. Who were you into?
I mean, when I was a really wee kid, I feel like I might have seen WWF definitely before all my pals in primary school, I remember. Because I remember it was my big brother would bring up VHS tapes.
Aye. The big lights across the screen.
Aye, exactly. even like properly, I mean, Betamax style, like that sort of era. Because would watch them at my granny's house. His mate would give them. His mate had family that stayed down in Wales. And apparently they had, at the time in the 80s, it still would have been one of the first cable connections in the country, like
Really?
proper
Where was
cable
it?
TV. Yeah, and I was like, but at that point it was just a giant cable that they, you know what I mean? The name.
Stuck in the back of a box.
Aye.
I remember having
exactly what it said in the tin, man.
It was something like SN or something. It was called just a wee
Aye.
tiny box, and you got a big massive cable.
Yep.
So who did you watch?
Proper
and you
old
thought-
school.
Who did you see and you thought to yourself, "Yep, this is for me. I want to be like this guy."
Well, the ones that stuck in my mind when I was a kid were like the Ultimate Warrior, especially Hulk Hogan, obviously, but the Ultimate Warrior always stood out to me as like when you're a wee kid, that big, larger than life, colourful character stands out to you, and sort of that's the sort of thing that got me into it. It was like a live action cartoon that I was watching. Do you know what I mean? I mean, not to say that I was watching Ultimate Warrior going like, I want to grow up to be like that guy, because I'd start hitting the steroids when I was 12-year-old. Do you know what I mean? At least.
That's aspirational, to be honest with you.
Nah, it's not healthy, man.
I always liked wrestling as well for a young age. You know, I must confess I was into it. Especially, I remember maybe primary 6, primary 7 when about then. Couldn't really get into watching WrestleManias. And for me, it was like The Undertaker was the first one for me. Undertaker, which I really I always liked the kind of bad guys. You know what I mean? So I loved the Bushwhackers, guys like that. I know Bushwhackers were kind of good guys at the time. Guys like what's his name? The commentator guy, I liked him. Jesse the Body.
Oh, I love Jesse Bonaventura. He's just been back in it, actually.
Oh, is he?
They done Saturday night's main event again.
Right, aye.
So he was commentating on it. And honestly, it was like a breath of fresh air in it, because he's a sort of old school guy. He was just calling out like logic holes in the match and all that.
Right.
Like, he was almost sitting there as a sort of armchair pundit,
Aye.
because he's kind of going like that. What's the referee doing? That doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. He's looking at it logically. The other commentators are trying to cover for like, do you know what I mean? Oh, the referee was distracted. He's like, they should fire that referee. It's just like, but you're like, that makes sense, man. You would. You are thinking that when you're watching it. Makes sense.
He was like what I liked about his co-coms is like he was like the voice of the cynic watching it.
Aye.
He was always the person who was almost like not the wrestling fan watching the wrestling,
Yeah.
commentating, and that's what I liked about him. He gave you a kind of alternative view of it.
Yeah. That's what he still comes across as now, and he's like an old man now as well. Do you know what I mean? It's what he kind of did in politics as well. I think he was always the conspiracy guy and stuff. He was like, even though, well, he was the governor in Minnesota for a while.
Oh, was he?
Aye, in the late 90s, he got voted, I think maybe as an independent, got voted as the governor in Minnesota. So he's like been a proper legitimate politician.
Aye.
And then for there went on to do like a conspiracy theory sort of TV show on Bravo or something like that. So I don't know, it was maybe on that in America. But for his perspective, you got to believe that like he probably knows that some of these conspiracies, there's truth to some of them, because he's had an insider's point of view. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Totally.
So even outside the wrestling, he's that cynic guy. He's the guy going like, wait a minute, what's up with that? And fucking even when he's involved in politics, he's like, wait a minute, they're talking shit to you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, what a cool guy, man.
This guy.
Yeah.
I get that vibe, mate.
What a cool guy. And Predator, obviously. Blaine and Predator. Yeah, he's a legend, man. Jesse Bonaventura is a legend, man. Yeah.
I remember him Predator actually.
Yeah.
Aye. But I remember nearly getting suspended for school twice for choke slamming people, because obviously the Undertaker's move was or a tombstone. So I remember just getting behind people and just getting to flip them, and then I did it one time in PE. See the big crash match? We're in PE one time. My mate was stoned. I just went like, grabbed him upside down, bang, tombstoned him on a crash mat. And he was laughing. I thought, all right. So I go up in a corridor. No, the same. Was he laughing then? Luckily, my English teacher kind of grabbed me just before I kind of planted.
Aye.
Otherwise, it could have been a different outcome.
Exactly. Because they'll, like, you know what I mean? When you're a kid, you might not realise that it's like his top of his head's actually quite a few inches off the ground. Exactly. It's like he's taking his knees.
Turning around.
Aye.
I was always quite a big guy, you know what I mean? So, I wasn't a bully, but you know what I mean? But my mate.
But nobody fucked with you.
my mate Rab and Bob, he was a wee bit shorter, and in first year in particular I was quite big, and obviously people went up to that's a perfect subject for a tombstone. Near you upside down bang.
I learned that the hard way as well. My mate learned it the hard way more. That you need to train properly to do a pedigree properly. That's Triple H's finishing.
Yeah.
Puts their face in between his legs and then goes
right
down his
down.
knees. I bust my mate's face open in his social area. Fucking did not hold back at all.
So I got into the WWF when a wee bit later than that Ultimate Warrior and all that. It was kind of like the Attitude Era stuff with the Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys and the Christian and Edge doing the TLC matches and stuff. So I was right into the Hardy Boys and that. So I was like the high flying stuff, jumping off of. I remember me and my pal were in my living room doing the Hardy Boys stuff, and I was trying to do a moonsault on top of my couch. So a moonsault backflip, landing on your stomach on your pal, and so we tried it once, and I ended up backflipping, not going far enough backwards, and smacking my head off the top of the sofa. That was fine. That was okay. I just banged my head. Right, I'll try it again. So I did it again, and then my mate, because we used the pillow cushions from the sofa. Mm-hmm. So I did the backflip. I thought, yes, I can make sure I jump back the way more. And then he pulled the cushion away, thinking it'd be that'd be really funny. And I landed full force, stomach bang on the living room floor. And I told him to go home. Go home. You need to go home now. I'm quite sore.
In wrestling, that would mean take it to the finish of the match. If you said go home, they would pin you after that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the referee would come in and go, like, go home, lads, go home. You'd go, like, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, there we go.
Is there a lot of that goes on then? There's a lot of kind of almost like stage direction that goes on?
Sort of, no, I shouldn't, bro.
Oh no, behind the scenes.
Yeah, like stuff. The referee obviously sort of blends into the background when you're watching it. Do you know what I mean? He just looks like a regular. Thomas Cairns is the referee for ICW, and he's been working for WWE recently as well, not kind of behind the scenes. But the referee is sort of, you know what I mean, impart information or instructions for behind the scenes.
Like a director in a scene type of way.
Aye, but they're sort of, they're live. Like the director's behind the curtain or whatever. The referee will quite often have a week and
he's a link then.
Headset mic, and he'll sort of. So for instance, actually I just did Grado's show at the Pavilion, his last one they did there, Grado Mania. And Grado's instructions to me, right, is what we did was Sha Samuels, he's a big Cockney wrestler, came out, comes out to Vindaloo by Fat Les just to get up the crowd's noses immediately, right? Gets on the mic and starts ripping the piss out of Scotland, running down Glasgow and stuff. My music, it was bits and pieces they used. GBX goes, I come out, get on the mic, do my wee dance. Grado always wants me to do my wee dance. Get the mic, get in the ring and stand up for Glasgow and Scotland and all that, and take the piss out of him. He starts battering me, and then a wrestler called Ravy Davey comes out, makes a save, and then has a match with Sha Samuels, wins a flag match by getting the saltire off the ring post and stuff. So after we'd done that, he gets the saltire off the ring post, he's dancing about in the ring and stuff, and the referee comes back out. I get back in the ring and I'm celebrating with Ravy Davey. The referee comes back out, goes like that, motions to me. I'm at home getting my instructions for Grado here, and I lean down. The referee goes like that. Grado says dance like fuck. Understood? I know what I'm getting booked for. Aye, man. I danced to the point where I almost collapsed when I get back. I'm like, yeah, man. It was like that, man. And I fucking, you know what I mean? It's them that's going through this pure enduring match and all that, and it's me that's running back to the toilet. Because I've danced for about 3 minutes.
I mean, this is, you're talking about it. Now you know how it feels. Because me and Neil did this. Remember the sketch show you did for Channel 4? And it got cut because just before COVID, remember? So Neil asked me about the sketch we did.
Because the sketch was about folk laughing at a guy's infection. That's right. And then COVID happened.
And it was like 2 months before fucking the pandemic hit. Do you know what I mean? So Channel 4 didn't show it.
Yeah.
But Neil was like to me. Neil's direction to me was, they dairy eyes.
The googly eyes, man.
That's the director just came to me and just said, Neil says that you have to dairy eyes. Wow, that's why I'm brought here to do this, just to do big eyes.
Aye, man.
Just to go like that, look.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, you had no lines, so I had to give you something. Do you know what I mean? They didn't allow me to give anyone any lines. It cost too much, man.
The sketch was a guy lying in bed, everyone just comes in and kind of passes comment on his
Aye. So the doctor's like, I go in, just might as well just do behind the scenes since it's never going to get shown. I go in and I've got some trouble in me in a private area and I'm all embarrassed and stuff. And then the doctor, played by Jerry McLaughlin's, being all professional, going, I've seen everything. No, what about it? Drop your pants. I'm sitting there. And then I drop my pants. He's like, oh my God, reacts like exactly how you don't want a doctor to react. And then keeps bringing in second opinions. I'll need to have another doctor look at this. And then keeps bringing in, I'll need to have the receptions look at this. I'll just have the butcher for next door come and have a gander. And then I'll need to have, so you were playing, was it one of the guys I went to school with? One of the guys that bullied me in school? Or no, you know who you were? Because he starts going like that. I'll need to bring in the guys that used to hang about in school. They'll come in with cans of tenants. So I'll need to bring in some of the lassies that never talk to you in school. They'll have a look as well. And he's like, I'll bring in some current school kids as well. Bunch of kids come in. He's like, I'll bring in their parents. Why not? And I think you were the dad, one of the Waynes.
Neil's direction to me was dairy eyes. That was
dairy eyes.
I just walked in like that.
You know why you were there.
Aye, listen, 3 years of drama college was worth it.
I think you were technically playing the dad of a wrestler in that scene as well.
Oh, was it?
I had a lassie, Angel Hayes, playing one of the. She might have been technically playing your daughter.
Now, no?
She has wrestled for WWE when they were doing UK shows, sort before they shut that down and stuff. But she wrestles a lot for ICW and all over the place as well.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
yeah. So I think you were playing her dad in that one.
That was good times. I thought it was a really good sketch. Actually,
I thought it was good. I thought it was decent and stuff. It was a stressful fucking experience, the whole thing, because I did no sleep, and then I'd written my own sort of anxiety nightmare. Like I'd written a sketch where I sit. And it was like that, man. I was like spaced out because I'd no sleep anyway, and then I'd written a sketch where I'm lying there with my pants down, and half the people I know come in and point at me and laugh. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, when we finished, I'm like, did that happen, or was I just?
While we're on subject to you with your pants down, you want to tell the story? Neil used to work for me with my theatre company I mentioned previously, with the Kickstart Theatre Company.
Yeah.
Neil was one of the first kind of long-term actors that I used. Do you want to tell the story about the staff room where you can route a toilet?
I mean, I'd love to hear the story about the staff room.
What was that? I can't actually remember how it went. I remember
it was like a wee village school or something.
Aye.
The toilet was attached to the staff room at the back. Remember?
That's right. Aye.
Do you want to tell that story?
I can't remember the exact words. I remember there was a phrase. There was a phrase, and I can't remember exactly what it was. So if you want to,
was it "oh dear" or something? No, what was it? Was it "oh my" or "oh dear"?
It was something really wholesome like that.
It was "oh dear."
Aye.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell how the context of it?
Well, I went in for a number 2 in this wee staff toilet.
Primary school.
In a primary school. So it could have been worse. Thankfully, it was one of the staff that walked in.
Right.
But I thought I'd locked the door. Must have been something up there or something. So it was a lassie, I think. It was a female member of staff walked in.
Yeah, a wee old woman in the
Was
office
it?
or something. It was a wee old office woman, a wee typical old office village school woman. Opened the door as Neil was mid-wipe. Is that right?
No, I was. So it wasn't even that I was sitting there like covered up. I was fully. Aye, she got the full. She got everything.
Neil was mid-wipe. The wee woman just walked in.
Aye.
She just went, "Oh my!"
Aye.
It was like a scene from fucking Quantum Leap. It's like,
Oh boy.
and Neil just went. Neil just kind of leaped at that point.
Aye. So I seen for Naked Attraction.
Apparently there was no beaver on show. That wasn't Naked Attraction. That was Instinct. Naked Instinct. No,
Talking about
one with Sharon Stone.
Basically.
Basic Instinct.
Instinct.
Aye. Naked Attraction's the game. What?
I
Did you
know
call
what
it a game
I'm saying.
show? Is that a dating show?
You actually call it a game show? See,
Aye, it was that. Like, I was almost. Well, that's the thing. See,
there's no game in that.
it should be though, right? See, when you watch it, I'm like, see if this was on like 20 years ago, it'd be on like Channel 4 later at night.
On a Friday
Oh,
night.
Aye, right.
Aye,
And
Right
like
after
Graham Norton
Eurotrash.
exactly. Graham Norton would host it before he did his chat show, something, and it'd be cheeky and it'd be fun and be like, oh, a bit of cheekiness. But now it's just like
It's ironic.
It's like a morgue slab or something. Do you know what I mean? It's so clinical and just sterile, and they just here's a flaccid cock. What do you think of that? You're like, I feel like I'm dead inside, to be quite honest. Like, I feel like I'm never gonna have sex again.
Is that mid-wank you said that?
Just did nothing for me.
I mean, it depends what's on display as well. Do you know what I mean? It's funny as well watching the woman on it when they pretend they're not just going to put it, just like they're not just going to walk in like, right, the biggest one. Just, come on, I've got an Uber waiting.
Hold on for one reason.
Like,
I love that one. Thank you.
Exactly. Get our guys to fuck.
Exactly. It's like the weeest cock.
I'll have the 12-inch deal, please.
It's like the weeest cock never gets picked. I don't know why that is. I don't know. That's
just the worst.
Had a quick personality.
I was going to say, the guy's like, I'm really funny. Fuck off, we dick.
Exactly. Yeah.
This guy's like, oh, me big dick. You're picked.
I know. I just have a wee bit of paper like that. It's cold. This is covering that. It's cold.
Just an arrow point to it. I've been no well this week.
It's a grower, not a shower.
Exactly. A wee arrow point towards it saying, I've been no well, I'm on antibiotics.
Plus, it takes the excitement. Like, see if they then go on a date, whoever they pick, they then go on a date. What are you going to be thinking about? What's there to get excited about during that date? Because you're just like, oh, I've seen all your bits, and to be honest, it's the best of a bad bunch. Do you know what I mean? It's the best of what Channel 4 fucking put in front of me. So, do you know what I mean?
Have you seen that? How is it Aldi sell wonky bananas? Like Aldi sell, so it's like bananas that aren't good enough to sell normal.
Aye.
It's like you get a wonky banana section. That's what that show reminds me. It reminds me of the kind of wonky banana section in Aldi. It's like 5 cocks and no one of them's fucking pointing east. Do you know what I mean? But no, it's good. Well, it's not good. It's fucking horrific, to be honest with you. But you're talking about Friday night TV. I said the word. Do you not remember the word?
I don't remember the word.
Do you remember the word?
Wait, did you?
37.
Was it Terry Christian?
Right, well, it's the kind of early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I suppose,
did you
89.
37.
You should.
So it might have been, I mean, I was a kid when I'd seen bits of the word. I remember seeing Nirvana on it. And
Oasis.
Oasis, of course.
Oasis.
That's right,
Done it, didn't
of course. Yeah, it might have been their first ever TV
done
appearance.
whatever. Was it? They played whatever.
I think so, aye. Yeah, that might have been their first TV.
It was the
like,
first ever live TV.
Yeah, man.
Aye.
Was that a chat show or was it?
Yeah, man. Mark Lamar.
Magazine show.
Yeah. So it did musical performances, interviews. Mark Lamar was on it. Terry Christian.
Katie Puckrick.
Katie Puckrick. Donna Eyre.
Oh, but that's when she broke through, wasn't
That's
it?
right, aye. And fucking the famous clip of Mark Lamar. It was Shabba Ranks as well. He's pulling him up for having homophobic lyrics and all that. And like a lot of the clips I can remember were from like compilation shows of like Remember the Word and like Best of Channel 4 and that. Because when that was on, I was like a wee bit too young to be up watching that. I mean, my brother was a big fan of it. And
I remember watching it. I used to watch it because it was like Eurotrash.
aye.
The word.
Oh well. Eurotrash holds a special place in a man of a certain age.
Every young man.
Why?
It was like a rite of passage, wasn't it?
Oh, aye, Christ. That's a lost art as well, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Like, you'd stay up till midnight going, oh, there might be tits in Eurotrash. And now at midnight, you naked attraction, you're just like, there's tits.
Exactly.
Everyone looks glum.
It's like,
Put me after tits.
do you think
Yeah, funny.
Yeah.
kind of desensitised it?
Ah, exactly. It's just so
Possibly, yeah.
jaded and fucking... Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no...
possibly.
There's no mystique in it. There's no cheekiness, no fun.
Yeah, it's like that movie. What's the movie? Is it Knocked Up? Where the guy makes the websites for all the films, and when they
Oh yeah, but the exact point of the film where you see
you
yeah,
get
Aye.
short
Aye.
tit or whatever, and he's kind of got it all as there's a website made up for it. It's like now it's just fucking everywhere.
Aye.
That
Yeah.
website wouldn't exist anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's slightly dated.
Do you think they
Oh, it's pointless, isn't it?
Do you think if they put Eurotrash on just now, it'd be considered like crude or, you know, not received well? Even though you've got things like Naked Attraction on, which, like you say, is more clinical and
It's weirdly, right, so if you watch clips of Eurotrash back now, I think a lot of the clips would be taken as like, oh, that's demeaning
It's not woke enough. is it really?
to women or something. And you're
Yeah,
like, is it
something
not
like
more
that, yeah.
demeaning to just women and everyone to just have them treated like a lab subject
we
and
go,
just have folk
standing
inspect
there.
them like that?
I
I don't know about the girth of this one, do you know what I mean?
six of them stand there completely in the scud.
Aye.
It's almost went full circle. I think it's almost went full circle.
Aye.
Right? We're kind of looking at people for what they've got. You know what I mean? Rather
Yeah.
than kind of what they can give, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, as a person or whatever. But shows like Eurotrash, kind of, it was titillation, wasn't it? It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
like full blown what you get.
No,
So
no.
kind of, it was kind of clever.
It showed like the kind of like the or almost like a comedic side of like, you know, the X-rated stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing
Yeah,
about
it was
words as
funny.
well. The word was kind of would kind of dance around the edges of taste, I guess, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why I love kind of Big Breakfast at the time as well. Remember Big Breakfast?
Yeah.
Big Breakfast was almost like a kind of PG version of The Word, I felt, where it was kind of close to the bone, and they would kind of do things that other TV shows were maybe a wee bit too scared to do.
Yeah. Even at that, like, talking about PG and stuff, that time in the morning, I mean, even years after that, when they were doing, like, Saturday morning TV apparently for kids, and you had, it was like SMTV or whatever, like Holly Willoughby and all that, and like all the pure double entendres like that, and melons and getting guns, getting the water through over, and you're like, you know what folk are watching this for? This isn't just for, this is for students and dads, man. This isn't
This is your dad's telly.
exactly. But that doesn't exist now because like everyone that would have been appealing to can just go into the wee magic box in their pocket and go like that.
Exactly.
I know. I've seen the tits today.
Do you think TV?
I don't need to get up at 9 in the morning.
I think
Exactly.
so. And even things like TikTok as well, they say
Yeah.
that. I read something where it's like there's after 15 seconds people switch off from watching videos and stuff.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
So if you're still here, thanks.
Yeah. Someone get their tits out quickly.
So to sit and watch, like I remember like SMTV live. That was like 2 hours in the morning, like 9 to 11.
Yeah.
Even remember Live and Kicking, and all that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember SMTV Live. It was Ann Deck who kind of made that because they did push the boundary as well. And remember they did the sketch. Is it Chums? Kind of take off of Friends.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd all basically try and fire into was it Holly?
Cat Dealy.
Cat Dealy.
Cat Dealy. But things like that, it's like kids now would be like, this is shite. You know what I mean?
Aye, I need to sit through a whole 5-minute sketch.
We need to invest in this. I'm not investing.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
This isn't 30 seconds long. I'm done.
Yeah, I know.
30 seconds, that's too long for kids.
I know. That's why you
30
don't
clips.
get. I don't think you really get kids TV on a Saturday morning. It's all cookery shows now.
Exactly.
A lot, yeah.
You don't wake up to see cartoons or.
No, because they just jump on YouTube or whatever, you know.
Well, that's the thing.
So Netflix, watch what they want to watch.
They watch what they want to watch, but nobody's. I think there's something to be said for a TV channel going, you're watching classic Tom and Jerry. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Or, do you know what I mean? You're watching classic Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. Because there'll be whole generations of kids growing up with that sense of humour. They'll grow up with a sense of humour that fuck knows what sense of humour they're getting for TikTok. Could be anything, man. That's a scary
Show
thing.
Tom and Jerry anymore. Tom and Jerry
Because they're smoking in it and stuff.
And also
Tom suddenly has a cigar when he's celebrating. I don't know.
big kind of black woman who's a slave.
That's
and
right,
stuff.
is it? Aye.
The maid, whatever she is.
Aye.
So you really get away with that now.
I'd never even thought about that, of course, man. Yeah, there's things you don't even consider that.
The life we live.
But we looked at that as like, it's funny. You know what I mean? But nowadays, people would kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb. Somebody would put a red pen for a lot of that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. I grew up. I had to be reminded of that because I would have grown up not thinking of that in a racist way at all. You need to be told that that's racist. Do you know what I mean?
Because it is all, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder a wee
I
bit as
suppose.
well,
Aye.
It's what you perceive as well.
Aye.
Aye, but for me, looking at that, it was just like you never thought twice. You thought it was just somebody working in the house. You didn't take into consideration the colour. You just thought.
Could they not just like redub it with a less racist voice? Or they like they done the Simpsons, you know, they'd recast a Pooh with like an actual Indian actor and stuff like that. Could they not just get an actress of colour to come in and just do the exact same voice, but you know it's fine because it's all that's doing it? That's how they covered their arses in the Simpsons. It's the exact same voices. So weirdly, it's now an Indian guy doing a racist impression of an Indian guy on The Simpsons.
What about Groundskeeper Willie?
Like
I'm definitely going to apply for that job.
I know, exactly. We need to probably that. We should make a petition. Like we're offended by that.
Exactly.
I'm offended. Hire me.
And then just their Groundskeeper Willie impressions to go on it.
From Aberdeen. Remember that accent? He's like, somebody said, where are you from? He's like, I'm from the bonny hills of Aberdeen. He's like, you're from Aberdeen, mate.
Well, they go to, remember the episode where they go to where they grew up in Loch Ness? Has to be Loch Ness. Where he's like, looking at pool tables and he's like, they're in the pub and he goes like, that's the pool table that I was conceived, raised and educated on. And then it floods, their village floods at the end because they drain Loch Ness.
Right.
So it floods their village and then it cuts to Groundskeeper Willie's parents going like that, just dour as fuck, going like that, we've lost our homes and all we hold dear. Aye. And they just walk away. It's like, that is actually the best stereotype of Scottish folk I've seen in an American thing. We've lost our homes and all we hold dear. Aye.
It's like Scottish people aren't perceived well in Hollywood or American pop culture, are they? Scottish people, we look at, there's like who's the other one? fan. Mike Myers' dad in So I Married an Axe Murderer as well.
That's perfect, though, man. His accent is...
Trousers. No, but his
Aye.
dad's from Glasgow, isn't he? Mike Myers' dad, is that right?
He's got family, definitely. I think maybe the granny, or... He spent a lot of time in Glasgow. I maybe getting mixed up with Robin Williams, I think maybe the granny in Glasgow, because he did the Mrs. Doubtfire accent.
That's right, aye, that's kind of how he got the accent.
Aye, definitely.
Christopher Walken's...
His mum's
from
Glasgow, I think, aye.
His dad's German, yeah, is that right?
That's right, aye.
Christopher Walken.
That's how you end up with that voice.
I know.
Has to be that combination.
I can't do an impression. We'll get Joe Heaton on one day.
Give it a try.
Really good.
It's murder, innit? It's like an impression that you're like, I should be able to do that, and then you try it and it's like sounds like that one at Little Mix doing the Jamaican voice. It's like, it sounds like you should be able to do Christopher Walken, and it's as tricky. There's a guilty.
I ain't even going to try.
And you were doing the woman at Tom and Jerry.
I'm going to try and do
Hey Thomas, I got this gold watch, Thomas. I got it up my ass, Thomas. But Daddy,
for 10 years I carried this watch.
Episode 2, we're already cancelled.
just dub it in. Just get an actress in it.
There we go. Hey!
Start casting.
Hey!
Fucking Bobcat Goldthwait at the Police Academy things.
So comedy. So how did you get to comedy then?
Where did it start?
So I mean, ever since I was a kid, like a teenager, basically, like my dad started doing stand-up
Neil's
first.
dad's brilliant, by the way. He's really good.
So cheers, I'll pass it on to him.
So is Neil.
yeah, totally.
Brother.
That's
Seen
good.
him do comedy.
Should we get them on as well?
We'll talk about your family later, but let's talk about you.
I think so. Like, well, my dad started doing stand-up when he was 50, so he was like a late sort of bloomer to it. He'd always written and stuff. He was like worked as a journalist eventually, so he'd always been a writer and stuff. But took that sort of writing to doing stand-up comedy. When he started, The Stand didn't even exist as a club, not even in Edinburgh yet. So The Stand was a sort of brand name, but they were running shows in basement rooms. I think a place called Christie's. And my dad was on at the last ever show there, actually.
Close, was it? Something close?
Maybe.
In Edinburgh?
There might have been a couple of
Who came up
places.
with the name for The Stand, do you know?
Probably Tommy.
That was Viv G.
Was it Viv?
Aye, Viv
Aye,
G's
so it was a wee
for The Stand.
collective at the start, right?
Really?
Right, okay. I don't know. I'm just,
Anyway.
Just going with the legend, let's say you just die.
Anyway.
What way to throw him under the bus? Well done.
I know.
That's all.
So he started gigging. He would have done some of the first ever gigs at the actual Stand Comedy Club. He kept encouraging me and my brother to start doing stand-up because they were already running comedy courses at the time through the Stand. My brother was at uni in Stirling at the time, so he never picked up straight away, but I would do sketches with my mate Martin from school. In school, so we did like this comedy competition. It was actually Stu Who came around to my high school. He was running these comedy workshops. So you get a bunch of you, and he was doing a workshop with you, and then towards the end, he was like, they're running a sort of course stroke competition in Glasgow, the old art school, I think it was. If anyone's wanting to come along to that, so a few folk for the school went along to that eventually, and me and my mate Martin decided to just do sketches as sort of characters. We won that competition, and as a result went down to London to be in the final. So my first ever proper comedy gig was at the London Comedy Store, hosted by Jonathan Ross. Amazing. So went rapidly downhill for there. It's like my next gig after that was being kept in the kegs room at the State Bar because we were legally not allowed to be in the place. So we'd get kept in the cellar and then called up to do our 5 minutes and then told to fuck off as soon as we were finished, basically. Right. So that was my first kind of run of gigs, was doing shit like that, being too young to actually be allowed into the place, but then performing in it for 5-10 minutes. Did that for a few years, and then when I fancied picking up doing sort of solo stand-up, I wanted to do it in character, so I picked one of the characters that I did in the sketches, which was called Scratchy. Actually, in the sketches was called Scratchy, but my overall name was the Wee Man, sort of my stage name. So by this point, actually, my brother had started doing stand-up, and his stage name was Bratchy. So when I wanted to start doing solo stand-up, I was like, I want to do the Scratchy character. And my brother was like, you can't call yourself Scratchy. That's too confusing if we're both on the circuit. You're called Scratchy, I'm called Bratchy. I was like, all right. I'll call myself the Wee Man then instead, just as that character. So originally the Wee Man was the sort of overall name, but I did a few different characters. But then that became the name of that character, basically. Which I think, in the long run, sort of works better. I don't know. I like the wee man is just how vague that is.
Aye.
Yeah.
Just in retrospect.
To Glasgow and
Well,
all
that's the
that.
thing.
Oh,
It sort of
definitely,
sums
yeah.
up a lot of things. I picked the wee man initially because it was sort of sentimental thing. It's like a lot of folk, that was always my dad's name for me when I was a kid until, you know what I mean, believe it or not, I outgrew him when I was about 10. My dad's a wee guy. But growing up, I was always the wee man and stuff. And I liked being called the wee man. I liked being referred to as the wee man. I think a lot of parents, they just refer to their wains as the wee man in Scotland.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly like overhearing wee man in the street like that, and it's just a dad
Yeah.
talking to his kids. Like,
We can't talk about the wee man without mentioning your very famous song that went viral back in mid 2000s.
Yeah, 2007.
There you go. This is before the going viral wasn't, you know.
There wasn't a phrase at that point.
No, that's it. Yeah. So, I mean, I remember watching it. When I was a kid, we were watching it back with my pals and my mate's computer when he had YouTube and stuff, and just watch this. This is well funny. So
You're 37.
37, aye.
So when that came out, you would have been
18 years ago?
hold on,
No, 18 years.
37.
19?
19.
19.
Oh,
Yeah.
Roughly, aye.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So, yeah. So, I remember watching that. I was like, it's a wee guy, so I was a bit older, but yeah, just remember watching it. And, yeah, there we go. And I'm sitting with the guy, so it's funny.
I remember watching the thing, this is shite. No, it was like, do you think that kind of changed? Did that video open the door for a lot of kind of sketch, kind of character? And also, there's a wee bit of a kind of Scottish R&B rap scene as well, isn't it? Do you think that kind of that opened the door for a lot of that as well? You think a lot of guys come through?
I mean, well, definitely I've talked to folk, you know, in following years, which is quite cool. You know what I mean? Not just that video, but it's like after that, I started doing my own sort of, I'm more a hip hop fan and stuff, so I did kind of more hip hop themed videos, or styled kind of videos. And since then, I've had like young guys saying that they were sort of inspired by that to sort of go into doing their own rhymes and their own kind of rap and stuff. I've met some of these wee guys when I've been gigging in Barlinnie or Pullman, which might sound like a joke, but it's like those are some of the best gigs I've ever experienced. They're great gigs to have,
100%.
but also experiences like Pullman, especially we did like sort of a wee workshop with a bunch of youngsters in particular. And it's like we guys like that, not just when I've been working in places like that, but even just in public, like perfect strangers will come up, and it quite often that demographic of young guys that might have been through harder times or whatever, that have said things along those lines that not only were they sort of inspired to write their own stuff, and maybe along the lines like I can do better than that, do you know what I mean? Which is fair enough. But a lot of you kind of young guys have said things, I don't know, like folk have gone like, oh, that was funny or that's funny or whatever, but those young guys in particular say things like those videos, that character sort of means something to them.
Aye.
More like, as I don't know,
They
if you want to call it
identify, I guess.
representation or, yeah, exactly.
And it's almost like a caricature of who they are as well.
I kind of, like, I feel, I don't know, like there's sometimes I feel I've maybe made it too cartoonish. It's like I went out of my way to make it larger than life, and but looking back and some of it now, I'm like, it'd have been better if I'd made that a bit more authentic. Do you know what I mean? I've maybe went a bit far with the over the topness and stuff, kind of deliberately. Do you know what I mean? He's called the wee man anyway, so it's got a vague name. Blah blah blah. But I don't know. I think maybe it's been misinterpreted sometimes by folk who aren't that demographic. Like, for instance, I've had young guys come up to me in like the pub or whatever else, or just do it in the street and stuff, and they've said things like that, like how much that character means to them. It's like, oh, it's almost like I've seen a version of myself, and they've went on about like being through various, you know what I mean, children's homes and shit like that, and like, but in a sort of inspiring way to be like, it doesn't need to be, do you know what I mean? It's inspiring them to be like creative or expressive or whatever, write their own stuff. And I've says to them in real life, I've been like, ah, you realise that's no me. It's like I'm not like that in real life. It's a character, and it's almost like they kind of go like, aye, like I'm a junkie, I'm not stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? They have said things along those lines. Do you know what I mean?
But you've
But it's other folk who maybe haven't experienced that in their life have a different perspective where they kind of go like, oh, if because you're no like that, you shouldn't be acting like that.
That's what I was going to ask you as well. So I know that I've heard you've told me some of this, but you've been accused also, haven't you?
Well, it's like punching down is the phrase that's a phrase that's came up in the last few years as well.
People have come up with these kind of ideas.
Like stay in your lane is a phrase I've heard repeated.
People say things like, oh, he's a wee posh guy for you.
I've read comments. Folk have actually screenshotted them and sent me. I've seen a ton that are like, my God, the lifestyle that folk have invented for me. I'm like, holy shit, man. I wish I was this guy they're talking about in a YouTube comment. Fucking high-flying, jet-setting. There's one like so specific as well. They're like, his mum and dad are both barristers, right? And that's so specific. His mum's got a chalet in Switzerland. I'm like, right? I'm like, I wish, mate. I've got a caravan in here now, and I'm over the moon with that.
It's the same thing. She bought it in Switzerland.
It's like 6,500 dozen, man.
She drove it for Switzerland.
Exactly. Some of the comments are like. In fact, I remember one comment I was talking about like how I started doing stand up and being kept in the cellar and stuff like that. And like, I remember one video I put out, and there was quite a long, detailed comment came up quite early, and the guy was accusing me of like being like a nepo baby. I think it was before that phrase came about. Maybe it was that sort of nepotism thing where he's like, he was quite knowledgeable as well and quite specific. He's like, his dad was a stand-up comedian, and it was him that pulled strings from him to get involved in show business. I'm like, I'm like, what strings are you talking about, mate?
Wow.
Like the strings that I've got to fucking keep my trousers up because I can't afford a belt, you know what I mean? Exactly. We talking about strings, mate. Strings, he pulled the strings for you to go and sit in a cellar in the state bar and fucking just have Socky All Street.
Do you think people automatically see somebody performing and think right away that they're some sort of a kind of this high convoluted life? Or
well, it's like they assume that there must be some in to it where you must need to know the right people and you know what I mean, suck the right bobbies.
There's a wee bit of truth in there as well.
There's always going to be a wee bit of truth to that, but it's like even like at that point, like putting stuff on YouTube like that, and it looks like it's got a bit of production to it. There's never any money spent in any of those videos. I mean, you were in a couple of them, so you know that. You know, there's no wage.
There's no money.
Folk would look at the production values and maybe assume it's like, oh, it must be some rich kid that's piling all his trust fund into it.
Woods at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
That wasn't it. We were both in the trenches for that, man. I mean, that was for a live show.
I ruined a brand new pair of Timbies, mate. I had a brand new pair of Timbies, 160 quid, wed Timbies, man, ruined walking through this mud because the director told me.
I mean, I don't want to throw that director under the bus because he's a very talented guy, but my God, he treated that like it was Stanley Kubrick making Paths of Glory, the fucking war film. That was like, run into the explosion now.
That was his platoon.
It was, right? That was our apocalypse now, it felt like after a while.
It felt like Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's getting me to jump down and land in my face, and by the 7th time, he's like, can you do that again? I'm like, no, I think we've got it, mate. Like, do you know what I mean?
I really enjoyed that experience.
It was great. It was great fun, but it was quite grueling.
Tell the guys what that was.
That was Nedditor. We did a parody of Predator.
A parody of Predator called Nedditor.
Showed it in the big screen it was the Archies that show was, wasn't it?
If he bleeds, we can kill him.
That's right, aye.
You find that on YouTube somewhere.
I think it might be. So the director stuck it on YouTube just randomly, I think, years later. Because I remember I found it, I was like, and it was like barely any views because it just bung. I think during lockdown I bunged it up on my Facebook fan page and stuff because I was like, fuck, nobody's seen this, I've just bung it up. It's quite a long video.
You should show at the start of your show in Edinburgh, I remember.
I've done it, so we done it at Glasgow as a sort of presented, did the film and then like stand-up bits and all that, and then used it at the Fringe. But it kind of, I cut it down for the Fringe, but it still meant that basically half my Fringe show was just a film. It's just like, I've not got enough material, just watch this.
I supported you. I done 10 minutes at the start and all.
In Glasgow you done that.
I done a few shows in Edinburgh for you as well, remember?
Oh, that's right.
So I did a half an hour video, 10 minutes of me, and then come and see Neil for an hour. Neil done 20 minutes at the end.
Aye, mate. roll in, roll out. Talking about the Simpsons, it's like Camp Krusty.
That's what it was like.
Krusty turns up in his Barney and a fucking wig. All right, fucking give me the
Come
money.
see the wee man. I'm here. See you later.
Told me about that one day. The guy's like, "You're 6'2", you're not a wee man." I was like, "Punch your mother."
Shut up, kid, bang line. Yeah, up here.
Here you, Albany. Up the road.
Misquoted. Everyone always come up to me like, if you'd done hanging about your dad video, innit? Some of the things that fucking people misquote me, man. It's like, you're that fucking getting a BG off your granddad video, aren't you, mate?
PCP. So what's the stuff you say? I want to talk about your dad and your brother as well. Then finish quickly before we finish up. Then
I never knew because I just get the song he gave to me in the first place, so I never even knew it was PCP. I was miming something else at the time. The idea what the lyrics were, man. It was a fucking lucky guess, man.
how old were you did that anyway?
23.
That's
So I was
quite
still
young.
working at the Archies, I remember, so I was 23.
Quite young.
Yeah, nah, too much too young. Aye, hit me.
much too young.
It was a weird fucking. It hit me quite. I don't want to sound like fucking poor me and all that, but it was like, because I was gigging at the time, I'd sort of gave up gigging because I got such a harsh review for Steve Bennett,
wow.
Scottish Comedian of the Year final.
I've been there.
So I patched it.
We've all been there.
And then that video, yeah, it's a sort of rites of passage as well. But that video came out and I was like, fuck, that's all I focus seen that. I might as well try and get some 5-minute spots at the stand and whatever. So go back to it that way. But sort of went back to treating it like a stand-up where you're building up your material, get 5 minutes now, I've got 10 minutes, I'm happy with now, I've got 15 minutes, I'm happy with now. But then by the time, I don't want to sound like moaning about it, right? But by the time I got to the point where like, I've got a decent enough amount of time,
Strong set.
by that time it's just like folk are observing me going like it seems like I'm milking a video for a few years ago, and I'm like, nah, I'm now at the level where I've got this. I'm happy doing this led to material, and now it seems like it's pure. You know what I mean? Ripping the arse out of it.
Was there ever a time that you wanted to kind of step away from the wee man and just kind of do something else? And
Oh, I have done a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I mean, I barely. Like in lockdown and stuff, I completely patched that attracted for society in lockdowns. Fucking best time ever, man. Go back to it, honestly.
Underrated.
Oh, aye. I'm well ready for the apocalypse, man. But like lockdown especially, I wasn't just patched the wee man like character, which I hadn't really been doing that character for years anyway. I hadn't been doing it in stand-up and stuff, kind of for the reason I was talking about.
Nah.
And I'd done like the odd video, but again, years before that. And the videos were always just, here's like a fun idea. But if I didn't have a sort of, maybe a purpose to it, it was usually like I'm promoting a fringe show that I'm doing, or I'm promoting a Glasgow festival show that I'm doing and stuff. But then if I stopped having a purpose to putting out a video, I was just like, I'm not just going to do videos for the sake of attention.
Totally. Exactly.
Right? That was almost just kind of before that became the culture. You're talking about TikTok like that. It's just like for the sake of doing it.
You see people just kind of doing videos to camera, just
Oh, that's it, yeah.
relevant, really.
Yeah,
the norm.
just to keep themselves on someone's algorithm or whatever. So right for the off, I was always kind of a wee bit. So I'm not sort of naturally shy anyway, so I was never that like I need to force myself into people's fucking smartphones and you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, into the back of their mind or whatever. I'm just like, do you know what I mean? I'll do my own hanging stuff. So I've totally fell away for doing the character or whatever if I've no seen like there's any point to doing it at the time. So more recently, I've done like last year's Fringe and then again this year's Fringe. So it's like Ian Pattison, the creator of Rab C. Nisbet, sort of almost brought that character back out, in the storyline of the play, back out the jail basically. He's been in the jail for a few years and he's coming back to his missus in this new one, played by Dion Fratty, an actress that we both know obviously. So it was almost like Ian Pattison. I'd been meeting up with him for a coffee for a wee while. He'd seen a show that I was in, singing I'm Not a Billy, He's a Tim 2, where I was playing a sort of version of the wee man, but as a ghost sort of thing. It was a sequel. I'm this ghost that's talking to the Billy and the Tim and stuff. I'm haunting them. Des Dillon wrote it. It was on at the Pavilion and stuff. And Ian had seen it at the Pavilion. Got in touch with him, met him through that and stuff. And then it was sort of him. Sort of at the time, I was just like I might just continue sort of just doing a bit of stand-up under my own name, etc. And it was sort of Ian prompting me to
So
bring the character
tell us
back, so
about
there's more in it. Sort of
Tell
thing.
us about that. When's that on and stuff? Just got a wee plug in just now.
So that'll be on at the Stand 2 during this year's Fringe, the last week of the Fringe, August 18th to the 25th to the 25th. It's an afternoon show at 2:05 in the afternoon. So it's Stand 2 and hour-long show, and it's a two-hander play that Ian's written. So it's sort of using the character, but in a different context. It's no...
Yeah, I'm going to pop through 100%.
So, cool. Aye, just
Definitely.
let me know, man.
And just to wrap up then, 27th of June, you're here, you're headlining our comedy night in here.
Yep, cheers for that.
And we've got Michael Welsh, a brilliant up-and-coming comedian, Cat Powell and Robin Zatina, who you've gigged with a lot as well. Robin.
It's done a lot of improv shows at Stand,
really
yeah.
good. And obviously yourself, and I'm hosting, so it's a really strong lineup. And you should get your tickets from the Clyde Bar's website. And
Yeah, it's a good room, this. It's a crack room for comedy, this.
setup, innit?
Yeah. I remember gigging with Kevin Bridges back here in the day.
tell your story that quickly before we finish.
Oh well, the story I tell earlier on was basically, this was years back in the day. I did not do well, I died in my hole, and then Kevin Bridges came on and fucking pulled it up by barely doing any material. He just kept referring to one guy as Farmer Giles and fucking just smashed it in with that, because the guy was like a cartoon stereotype with a farmer, a guy with a bonnet. I think he might even had a pipe. I think his sheepdog might have been in the room. It's like, it's that sort of level. But it was like, it's stunning to see, especially like Bridges in those days. It was like almost more effortless because he wasn't even doing material. See, remember him back in the day where he barely had any actual written jokes, but he had just such charisma. You're like, this guy's just born to do this, man. He's just fucking off the charts. So, yeah.
I remember he did a gig in here, and a lassie came in. I think she came in late. I think the compare or maybe the first act was on, and she came in late with her pal, and she was like, "Where's the wee man?" And you're just sitting over here. It's like, hello. It's like, oh, there he is. There we go. Stole the show a wee bit.
Yeah, I don't remember actually sitting here. Maybe I think it was one of the gigs I was doing here, and a woman. This gives you a level of sort of, you know what I mean, how people perceive. Aye, it's fine if you want to call it that. Woman just comes up to you and goes like, you know that wee cunt off YouTube? Aye, she's like, alright.
Walked away.
That's my level, it, man. I remember a guy.
The Bob was like my list.
That cunt just says cunts at the top. I remember a guy cycling up to me. I was walking on a bridge or the Clyde near my house once a while ago. Guy cycles up to me and goes like, here. You know that hangway that done the hang in the hangway? And I went like, aye. And he went, proud of you. So he got away.
I love that expression.
Proud of you.
Mate, I
fucking love that, man.
So I used to do a bit of barbering. The guy came in, out his nut, sweating, man. Right, big guy. I wanted a zero back and sides. I cut his hair. He's out his bush, right, full of all sorts. He's like in the mirror. For 15 minutes after I cut his hair, he's just like that. Cheers, mate. Proud of you.
I love that, proud of you, Chapman.
Proud of you.
I'm shaking myself. I think he's going to grab my scissors and put it through me or something.
Yeah.
He's like, cheers, mate. Proud
Proud
of
of
you.
you.
I've just walked away, man.
Proud of
Honestly.
you.
Neil, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for coming down
Fun, man.
to
Thanks,
sunny
man.
Helensburgh.
Oh my god.
And we'll see you on the 27th.
That's it. Yeah.
Of June.
27th of June, Friday. I'll be
mate.
here. You'll be there.
See you, bro.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
Good to see you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Cheers.